Simplicity, affordability, respect for the human spirit. That sums up natural burial, a new yet traditional approach with people at its heart and nature in its soul. I'll introduce you to the what, where, when, why, and a little of the how behind green burial, including some bare bones background of the nearly 36 burial grounds in 24 states and 2 Canadian provinces certified by the Green Burial Council of North America, which also certifies more than 200 funeral homes coast to coast. I was founding president of Green Springs Natural Cemetery Preserve in New York's Finger Lakes region. Now I serve as research director of the Green Burial Council. In my spare time, I'm a science writer at Cornell University. My enthusiasm for green burial, that's largely due to my complete astonishment that my life even took this turn. Before I begin, we're going to zip through some slides. First up are photos that set the stage for my Cliff Notes version of what green burial is about and how it differs from contemporary disposition. Later, we'll see some photos that underscore my belief in the power of story. So let's start cruising. Cliff Notes first. You got your vaults, which green burial doesn't use, and you got the money for the vaults, and some of them look like they make some really fancy looking vaults. You can spend thousands of dollars on a vault, but vaults always eventually leak, and they are not forever. And when they do collapse, then you have the problem, they use them so that the earth doesn't collapse. Well, it's gonna eventually. Next. You've got your AstroTurf. You've got your mechanical lowering device, which is right in the front there. And people never see, they never actually commit their beloved dead to the earth because they set them on that lowering device and they walk away. And then the staff takes over. And then you've got rank upon rank of somber stone monocultures. Let me see if this helps. All right, next. You've got your posh caskets. I would imagine that most of those are metal caskets. But even the wood ones, the wooden ones, the posh ones, they could be rainforest timber. They probably have a lot of metal in them, et cetera, et cetera. The polyester padding inside, the purple velvet coverlet. These things don't really return to the earth the way they should. They're basically, it's almost like a special kind of landfill. Let's go on. But here, somebody got creative. I don't know where this photo came from. I found it online. But this person's thinking, okay, I love to read, but someday the book on my life is going to close and take out the shelves. So you can have people, you can get a cabinet maker to make something like that. Let's go on to the next. Well, Ghana. These are the Ghanaian casket companies have become world renowned. This started in the 50s. They just create these amazing, some of them are in the shape of airplanes, they're in the shape of Nikes, they're whatever that person was into in life. They build a casket for them in death that reflects their love of life. Next. These are certified by the Green Burial Council, and from now on I'm going to be saying GBC because that's a heck of a lot easier. And these are just really simple, beautifully crafted caskets. Many of them have no metal in them whatsoever. Let's go. And here we get to the other side of the coin. This is the stone commemorating the first person buried in a natural cemetery in North America, a stillborn baby, in 1998. And I think there's just a couple more. Again, you're seeing the kinds of stone markers that you'll see at natural cemeteries. So yeah, this is pretty different. In this case, you know, the families just are having it engraved the way they want. They're usually finding a stone as the coffin comes, as they dig the hole for the casket. And they're watering in a native mountain laurel down in South Carolina. And if we got any more in this series? Yep, and let's go on. And this is it. I'm going to talk now for a little bit, especially if I get my notes back up. So the Cliff Notes first. The Green Burial Council offers 3 levels of certification. Hybrid burial grounds are a modest step forward. This is where contemporary cemeteries, and even ones like West Laurel Hill, which really speak to an amazingly visionary and progressive movement 150 years ago. Still, now it's more or less a contemporary cemetery. I think that's fair to say. But they forego vaults. They allow shrouds in lieu of coffins, and many will set aside a piece of land, an acre, 2 acres, 5 acres, whatever they can spare, exclusively for green burials. Natural burial grounds are protected by deed restrictions that lay out strict criteria for care of the land. Core values include preserving natural vistas in the landscape. And conservation burial grounds are owned by a land trust or affiliated with one through a conservation easement. This is a legal document that provides for perpetual stewardship of the land. Core values include restoring native species, especially when rare. Now, a little more on these last 2, the conservation and natural burial grounds. You've got your memorial plantings of native trees, meadow plants. You've got natural stone markers, and at Green Springs we do often unearth a couple as we dig a grave. The simple biodegradable shrouds and caskets. That's not a requirement for the hybrids, just simply that they allow a shroud in lieu of casket, but they don't say what kind of shroud, what kind of casket. Families and friends take the lead however they want or if they want in committing their beloved dead to the earth. And I would imagine that's also true of many of the hybrids. And of course, it's say no to posh caskets, especially steel, not particularly biodegradable. AstroTurf, plastic flowers, buzz-cut lawns, and those endless stone monocultures. Ditto with mechanical lowering devices, herbicides, embalming fluid, right? Well, not necessarily. For these last 3, it's a touch more complicated. Though they're almost rare as hen's teeth, they're not forbidden. And I can tell you more later as we walk, if you'd like. Who wants natural burial? Well, if the 150 people buried at Green Springs speak to the norm, you've got nurses, arborists, teachers, librarians, professors, truck drivers, farmers, cooks, clerks, accountants, servicemen and women, the list goes on. In 2007, AARP commissioned a survey to take their market's pulse on natural burial. Who wants it and why? Their detailed data suggests that the greatest support for green burial comes from the Southeast. It also suggests that if you're slicing and dicing by income and education, it's mostly people making $50,000 or less and with a high school diploma, maybe some college, who show the most support. Kind of surprising. What if you break it down by age? While not even 1% of those aged 90 and older would opt for a natural burial, 57% of those in their fifth decade would certainly consider it. Boomers, in a word. So the law of diffusion of innovation tells us that an idea or belief becomes widespread, takes root, after its adoption rate reaches a tipping point of 15 to 18%. A simplistic take on all this would suggest that with 57% of boomers open to the idea, green burial ought to be a no-brainer. And yet in all of North America, you've got 36 contemporary, natural, or hybrid burial grounds, and I'm guessing probably another 24 that haven't sought GBC certification. I'm here to witness jump-starting a natural burial cemetery from scratch on a shoestring ain't easy. Meanwhile, those 200 plus GBC certified funeral homes make up maybe 0.01% of the funeral demographic, their market. And the two main funeral directors associations do provide really solid workshops on greening their industry. Yet I doubt there's a mortuary sciences school anywhere that has anything in their curricula about shrouding a body, preparing for a viewing without embalming, or really anything in your Go Green toolkit. Looking through this lens at the law of diffusion of innovation, there's hardly any point to doing the math. Yet even if green burial is still getting traction, it's a story that by my reckoning has already touched thousands of lives. For those people, green burial is a big story. And for some of them, it's a life-changing story.